Hi, my dear students. This episode, I'm going to present you a very interesting career. Are you happy? Can you make people happy? Do you have a passion to move with people? Are you a person who takes genuine interest in people? Then you have an excellent career called happiness officer. We heard about purchase officers, personal officers, maintenance officers, police officers. Happiness officer. This term is becoming very popular in many organizations. What is the job of a happiness officer? To make people happy. Looks very odd, isn't it? But look at how things are today. Jobs are becoming difficult day by day. I have over 45 years of experience in human resources management. Way back in 1974-75, I started my job as a personnel officer. I find the job is becoming very challenging. The job content itself is becoming very challenging. People are becoming more and more demanding. People have a lot of expectations. There is a heavy pressure on job. There is a heavy pressure on people holding a job. And so you need to have a good working environment. I'm sure some of you would have noticed, in some organizations you walk in, you feel at home. Whether it is a bank or whether it is a government office or whether it is an educational institution, people receive you with a smile. People receive you and listen to you with a lot of empathy. Long ago, I'm talking about 1970s. I used to go to the University of Madras. There used to be a registrar, a Muslim gentleman. Those days, the telephone was not used that well. No email service, no WhatsApp. So for any query, any doubt, you have to go in person and ask the person. I have seen this man in his office with lot of students around asking questions, this, that. With a smile on his face, he will answer. I used to stand there for half an hour, 40 minutes just to enjoy how much patience you should be having. How much patience you should be having to answer those queries. Happiness. The purpose of a happiness officer is to identify why and how people are happy. I just want to touch on one or two small theories. Maslow's hierarchy of needs says that there is a hierarchy of needs. For example, once you have finished your education, you want a job, no? First of all, you want a job. So any job you'll accept. So to satisfy your physiological needs, your hunger, a place to live, right? A salary to sustain your life at least, physiological needs. Once that is satisfied, you look around whether you will be made permanent. That's called a security need. So physiological need is satisfied, then your need jumps into security needs. Then what is called a belongingness needs. You want to belong to a society. You need to be in a social platform, right? Once that is satisfied, you go into the next hierarchy of need called self-esteem. Well, you want respect, you want status, you want pride, you want to know your designation, the size of your room, how many people I'm supervising, right? All that. Once that is satisfied, you go to self-actualization need. That is, you start asking, what is that I'm going to contribute to the society? Self-actualization need. So, the happiness officer will find out where exactly a person is in this hierarchy of needs, and he will understand that mere salary alone is not going to make people happy. Right? The another theory on motivation is what is called the two-factor theory of motivation. There are a set of things called motivators, and there are a set of things called hygiene factors. Motivators are achievement, recognition, the work itself, that is the content of the job itself, the amount of responsibility that is given to you, advancement and growth. Supposing you get all these things, will you be happy? For some time, yes. But if you do not have what is called hygiene factors, which are, for example, company policies, right? And the type of supervision that you have, relationship with your boss, relationship with your peers, working conditions, your salary, remuneration, your security. Now, so you need to be having an eye on what things will motivate, and along with motivators, do you have the hygiene factors. These happiness officer will have a constant check whether these two factors are satisfied. There are just not two theories of motivators, but there are many. But the job of a happiness officer is to ensure how to make people happy. You know why? If you are not happy, you cannot make others happy. What you don't have, you cannot display. What you don't have, you cannot give. Right? So he will go into that. First of all, you should love your job. It's not just liking a job. Love is one step higher than liking. When I say, I love my country, and when you say, I like my country, when you say, I love my country, you are willing even to sacrifice. When you say you like your country, the amount of sacrifice is not much. So the happiness officer will ensure that there are certain conditions in the company which will make people love their job. Next time when you see various people working, look at the condition in which they are working. The recent example is the hospital staff in a corona ward. Look at the doctors, the nurses, the ward boys. Look at the inconvenience they are putting up with the personal protective equipment, with always a constant threat for the life. Only now the vaccine has come and they were given the first preference. When everybody avoided a COVID patient, a nurse or a doctor or a ward boy should handle them. They should feel happy for doing that. Look at some of the jobs like cleaners, street cleaners, scavengers. Jobs you don't want to do, they have to do it. They have to like doing that. Look at people working in brick kilns, in very furnaces, for example. There is no other alternative for them. They have to have it, so they have to love. The purpose of a happiness officer to ensure that conditions exist which will make them keep their enthusiasm on. A statistics I was going through, in which country people are very happy, or employees are very happy. Denmark is on the top. And they had also listed why people are happy working there. And about 5 or 6 issues were discussed. One is reasonable working hours, generous unemployment benefit, training and development, focus on happiness. And because of these factors, the statistics says the people in Denmark are very, very happy. And there is one other thing. The boss will not give a command. The boss will suggest, I believe, what you to consider doing this way. Like no instructions. So these factors make a Danish worker happy. So the job of a happiness officer is to look at such models and see whether they can bring it to their own company. There are a lot of companies which have come out with happiness officers. I was just looking at some of the top 20 companies where they have these happiness officers. One is Zoom Video Communication in US. They have a senior happiness officer on the rolls of the company. HubSpot is an American real estate developer. Microsoft, of course, people are very happy working for them. RingCentral is an American publicity company. Of course, Apple and Google employees are very happy. The study says. The question is how to make people happy, and these happiness officers make it. In fact, if you look at the how did this happiness officer came? Originally in personnel function, it was called personnel department, personnel manager, industrial relations manager. Slowly, somewhere around 1980s, when we started looking at the Japanese model, people were looked as resources. That is a very important breakthrough. That's a turning point. When people were looked at as a resource, like money as a resource, machinery as a resource, land as a resource, building as a resource, all of a sudden people realized, oh, human beings are also human resources. They are not human beings, they are human resources. So the personnel officer became human resources officer. The personnel department became the human resources department. In fact, India, we introduced a separate department called the Ministry of Human Resources. Now it's called the Ministry of Education, of course. So that is the origin of the Human Resources Department. Now, so one step further from Human Resources Department to Happiness Department. What are the traits you should have to become a happiness officer? As I said, interpersonal communication. You should be really genuinely interested in people. You should be a people-loving person. You should be a helping person. Because if you don't have certain traits, you cannot succeed in that career. Of course, leadership skills. You know, the difference between a leader and a manager is, a manager operates because of power and authority. But a leader operates because of his charisma, his ability to align people. Mahatma Gandhi was not appointed, he was not elected as a prime minister or a member of parliament, people aligned. So leadership qualities. A passion for helping people. Because as a happiness officer, you have to deal with people with a grievance. When grievances are not rectified in time, then it may escalate into bigger problems. And a happiness officer should also be a person who can deal with any type of people. In an organization, there are people who are satisfied. There are people who will never be satisfied. There are people who will express openly. There are people who will not express, but they will sabotage, for example. There are people who are highly critical. There are people who are very silent. There are aggressive people. There are submissive people. Any type of people you should be able to handle. Last but not the least, you should be genuinely interested in dealing with the people issue. Some examples of where all you can go and have this qualification. There are colleges who offer postgraduate diplomas or degrees on human resources management. Madras School of Social Work, Loyola College, Chennai, it offers, right? Jain College. If you go on Google search, all over India there are educational institutions offering special program for human resources. Symbiosis Center for Management and Human Resource Development, Pune. That's another example. XLRI, Jamshedpur. Indian Institute of Management and Technology, Nagpur. You can Google search and really choose the right type of thing. So, happiness officer is the new designation. Purposely, I am focusing on areas other than engineering and medical because somehow or other our mind is set that You have to be an engineer, you have to be a doctor, you have to be a chartered accountant, you have to be a lawyer. In this episode, I'm giving you other areas where you can pursue a career. Right? If you are not subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe and press the bell button so that you get our updates as and when we upload. All the best. See you next time.
SRMJV is not just a school, it's a one-time experience.
VM Nagar, Tiruvallur,